Welcome to Daily Scripture Reading. I do not own the rights to this music. 2 Samuel chapter 19. This is the Amplified Version. Joab reproves David's lament. It was told to Joab, "Behold, the king is weeping and mourning for Absalom." So the victory on that day was turned into mourning for all the people. For the people heard it said on that day, "The king grieves for his son." The people stole into the city of Mahanaim that day, as people who are humiliated and ashamed steal away when they retreat in battle. But the king covered his face and cried out with a loud voice, "O my son Absalom! O Absalom, my son, my son!" Then Joab came into the house to the king and said, "Today you have put all your servants to shame, who this day have saved your life, and the lives of your sons and your daughters, and the lives of your wives and concubines. For you love those who hate you, and hate those who love you. For you have shown today that commanders and servants are nothing to you. For today I know that if Absalom had lived and all the rest of us had died today, then you would be pleased. So now stand up, go out and speak kindly and encouragingly to your servants. For I swear by the Lord that if you do not go out, not a man will stay with you tonight. And this will be worse for you than all the evil that has come upon you from your youth until now." David restored as king. Then the king stood and sat at the gate of Mahanaim, and they told all the people, "The king is sitting at the gate," and all the people came before the king. But Israel, Absalom's troops, had fled, every man to his tent. All the people were quarreling throughout the tribes of Israel, saying, "The king rescued us from the hands of our enemies, and he saved us from the hands of the Philistines. But now he has fled out of the land from Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, has died in battle. So now, why are you leaders doing nothing about bringing back the king?" Then King David sent word to Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, "Say to the elders of Judah, why are you the last to bring the king back to his house in Jerusalem? Since the word of all Israel has come to the king and to his house, you are my brothers, relatives, relations. You are my bone and my flesh. Why then are you the last to bring back the king? Say to Amasa, the commander of Absalom's troops, are you not my bone and my flesh? May God do so to me and more also, if you will not be commander of my army from now on in place of Joab." In this way he changed the hearts of all the men of Judah as one man. So they sent word to the king, "Return, you and all your servants." So David returned and came to the Jordan, and supporters from Judah came to Gilgal to meet the king to escort him across the Jordan. Then Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite of Bahurim, hurried and came down with the men from the tribe of Judah to meet King David, and 1,000 men from the tribe of Benjamin with him, and Ziba the servant of the house of Saul and his 15 sons and 20 servants with him, rushed down to the Jordan before the king. Then they repeatedly crossed the ford to bring over the king's household family and to do what pleased him. And Shimei the son of Gera fell down before the king as he was about to cross the Jordan, and said to the king, "Let not my lord consider me guilty, nor remember what your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem, so that the king will take it to heart. For your servant knows that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I have come today, the first of all the house of Joseph, to come down to meet my lord the king." But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, said, "Should not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed?" David said, "What business is this of yours, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should be an adversary to me today? Should anyone be put to death in Israel today? For do I not know do I know that today I am king over Israel?" Therefore the king said to Shimei, "You shall not be put to death." And so the king gave him his promise. Then Mephibosheth, the grandson of Saul, came down to meet the king, but he had not cared for his feet, nor trimmed his mustache, nor washed his clothes from the day the king left until the day he returned in peace. and safety. And when he came to Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, Why did you not go with me? Mephibosheth, he said, My lord the king, my servant Ziba betrayed me. For I said, Saddle a donkey for me, so that I may ride on it and go with the king. For your servant is lame, but he took the donkeys and left without me. Further, he has slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like the angel of God. So do what is good in your eyes. For were not all of my father's household, family, nothing, but dead men before my lord the king? Yet you set your servant among those who ate at your own table. So what right do I still have to cry out any more to the king for help? The king said to him, Why speak any more of your affairs? I have said, You and Ziba shall divide the land. Mephibosheth said to the king, Let him even take it all, since my lord the king has returned to his own house in safety and peace. Now Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim and went on to the Jordan with the king to escort him over the Jordan. Barzillai was a very old man, 80 years old, and he had provided the king with food while he stayed at Mahanaim, for he was a very great and wealthy man. The king said to Barzillai, Cross over with me, and I will provide for you in Jerusalem with me. But Barzillai said to the king, How much longer have I to live, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old. Can I be useful to advise you, to discern between good and bad? Can your servant taste what I eat or drink? Can I still hear the voices of singing men and women? Why then should your servant be an added burden to my lord the king? Your servant would merely cross over the Jordan with the king. Why should the king compensate me with this reward? Please let your servant return, so that I may die in my own city and be buried by the grave of my father and mother. But here is your servant Chimham, my son. Let him cross over with my lord the king, and do for him what seems good to you. The king answered, Chimham shall cross over with me, and I will do for him what seems good to you. And whatever you ask of me, I will do for you. So all the people crossed over the Jordan. When the king had crossed over, he kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his place. Then the king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him. And all the people of Judah, and also half the people of Israel, accompanied the king. And all the men of Israel came to the king and said to him, Why have our brothers, relatives, the men from the tribe of Judah, stolen you away and brought the king and his household, and all David's men with him, over the Jordan, instead of waiting for us to arrive? Then all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, Because the king is a close relative to us. So why then are you angry about this matter? Have we eaten at all at the king's expense? Or has anything been taken for us? Then the men of Israel answered the men of Judah, We have 10 tribes, shares in the king, and we have more claim on David than you. Why then did you treat us with contempt and ignore us by rushing ahead? Were we not the first to speak of bringing back our king? But the words of the men of Judah were harsher than those of the men of Israel. The end. God bless you, and thank you for joining me today.